We have been following along with the tragedy with the Titan submersible, and I was going to take this time, this opportunity, to talk about the lawsuit that had been filed back in February against CEO Stockton Rush. But now, I mean, literally just minutes ago, yeah, the couple announced that they were dropping this lawsuit. So let's go back and figure out everything that was going on. The first thing I do want to bring back up, though, is this statement that was released by Oceangate Expeditions just a couple of days ago, announcing that they believe that those who were on the Titan had been lost. And I think everyone was following this, hoping, praying, really wanting to find them. It was just something that I kept my eye on. I was watching. Personally, I was sort of feeling like it was not anything I ever would have done, because for me, it just felt really risky. It was not something I would have done. But I can appreciate people wanting to see the Titanic. Again, though, I think everyone is really saddened by the loss. But I want to go back, though, to this lawsuit and talk a little bit about that before I go to what's been going on in the news, because I want to just bring up some of that too, so we can really figure out what's happening with them dropping the lawsuit. But this was the lawsuit filed in Orange County, Florida. It was Marc Hagle and Sharon Hagle. They were the plaintiffs, and they had filed it against Richard Stockton Rush. I guess I called him Stockton Rush. That's what I had been hearing. And here's the thing. So I had been going to the website just to kind of gather information, do the background research. I keep forgetting to turn my phone off, you guys. I'm so sorry. Do that background research, and you can see here, this is just a screenshot from the website, and you can learn more about some of the work that they do. They had blog posts, and I really wanted to go to this one that said the 2023 Titanic expedition begins. I wanted to see some of this. Now, when this first kind of happened, the day that they went on the mission, I had already been to the website, so I had already started looking at some of this. But by the time I got ready to go back to check out some things, this is what's been going on with the site. So I can imagine that they're taking a look at what's going to continue to be public on the site and maybe what's hidden. Now, I can also imagine that their attorneys have told them not to destroy any information. Be careful about what you're removing and what you're changing, because there may in fact be lawsuits that take place. The government may want to conduct its own investigation. But this is sort of what I was running into the last couple of days as I was just trying to learn more. And like a lot of you, I've been on this site multiple times and hadn't really had this issue. But lately, this is the issue that I've been running into. All right, let me, I brought up just the initial piece here about the complaint, and then I'm going to go over to, I guess, this latest news information about them dropping the suit. I want you to just have an idea of what it's about, though. So they're seeking damages. They're suing Stockton Rush, and they've got here damages in excess of $50,000. Now, when I go to the lawsuit, I'm going to tell you how much they paid. You're going to learn how much they paid. You're also going to see some of that in this website that I'm going to go to in just a second, this news site. But yes, you can see there what was going on. All right, let me see if I can pull up this page so that we can all take a look at this, because literally, like I said before, this just came out. I was really surprised when I was getting ready to do this. I was going to try to do it yesterday, but I didn't get around to it. And it was just like, whoa, okay, so we have a lot going on. Here is this update from Fox 35. And like I said before, this just came out. It says Florida couple drops lawsuit against Titan sub owner after catastrophic implosion. And literally, I'm looking at my clock. It is 10:06 a.m. And you can see here, this report just came out 9:52 a.m. The timing here, yeah. So I wanted to go down and see what they said in their statement. And here's their statement that Fox 35 is reporting. And Rush, of course, was one of the passengers on the submersible at the time of the implosion. Here's what they're saying. Like most around the world, we have watched the coverage of Oceangate Titan capsule with great concern and enormous amount of sadness and compassion for the families of those who lost their lives. Sharon and Marc Hagle said in a statement, "We honor their zest for life as well as their commitment to the exploration of our oceans. As has been reported, we've been involved in a legal dispute with Stockton Rush, CEO, founder of Oceangate. In light of these tragic events, we have informed our attorneys to withdraw all actions against Stockton." So there you have it. This latest news just coming out from Fox 35. And yeah, so I'm going to go back to this lawsuit so that we can take a look at that, so that you can get an idea of why they were even suing him. And yeah, it's definitely interesting there. Let me pull this up. Here we have the filing, and again, I'm just going to scroll through this top part because I don't really want to go through everything. It's been dropped at this point, but I do want to make some points here as we go through it. All right, 50,000, you already saw that, and greater than, okay? So it says around 2016 here is when they were offering that they were going to do this dive. And it was supposed to be on Cyclops 2. It says here they had the original contract. They were each paying a $10,000 deposit. And this is the important part here. You can see here they made their required $10,000 deposits for a total deposit of $20,000. And then you see they were supposed to make this milestone payment of $40,000, and then it says here a final payment of $55,129 that was due. Now here's the thing, it says which was approximately 4 months in advance of the estimated date, but this date kept changing. Okay, things kept going on, and they were thinking, it says here, plaintiffs contemplated requesting a refund of their deposit. But here's what they're claiming. They said that on or about September 2017, Rush, the CEO, traveled to their residence in an effort to keep them invested in the expedition. It says he knew that if they requested a refund and withdrew from the expedition, that others would leave too. Really concerned there. He's like, I got to keep them on board. And this is what they're alleging. He gave them a response. Okay, here's what he talked about. During this meeting, he explained the design and structural concept, the number of people on each trip, the estimated time to reach the Titanic. You know, they're just talking a little bit about what he went over. Stated that Cyclops 2 was being launched in the Bahamas shortly after the meeting, you know, letting them think that everything is moving forward. And that was what he was telling them when he came to their home. At least that's what they're alleging here. So they said, here's the thing. Further, in response to specific questioning by plaintiffs, Rush expressly, unequivocally, and without exception represented to plaintiffs that if they had any questions or concerns as to the integrity of Cyclops 2 and or the timing of the expedition, if it were to be delayed, they could request and would receive a full refund of all monies paid with no questions asked. So if this is you, okay, if this is you and you're trying to decide whether or not you want to go forward with this, if you're saying, should I buy this or should I not? Okay, I have some concerns about the timing. I have some concerns about the actual product, the Cyclops 2, the integrity. Will, we be able to do this? And now this person says, okay, so here's what's kind of going on. Let me give you some updated information. And if there are any problems going forward, and he included the part about the timing, you can get all of your money back. No explanation, no excuses, no reasons, no nothing. All monies paid will be refunded. And so if this is you and you're thinking, okay, well, I can get my money back. Okay. Yes, there's a way to put yourself in a position that you're more likely to get your money back. And we're going to talk about this. Some of it actually came up in this. Like I said, a full refund of all monies paid with no questions asked. To further emphasize his point, Rush indicated that the deposits were and any future payments would be held in a dedicated client escrow account separate from his or Oceangate's fund. And that's where I wanted to go next. You can, as part of your agreement, decide mutually that you want to place the funds in an escrow account. Now, here are some things that aren't clear with this one. Who has control over the escrow account? Is it just a separate account where they have put the funds so that you know that they haven't been spent and that they're over here not being used for other things that they may have going on, and so you feel a little safer about it? But the question is, how do those funds get released? Is there an agreement about that? Do both parties have to agree before any of those funds are released? And who is the primary trustee over that escrow account? So if Rush or Oceangate is the trustee over that account, the ones controlling the release of the funds, then that's not really going to work. So if you're thinking about going into a situation where you're saying, okay, I feel okay about this, I feel good about this, this is acceptable if you put the money in an escrow account, you need to actually go a step further and say, okay, well, how do we determine when funds get paid out of the escrow account? Who makes that determination? And what happens if we don't agree? All of that should be in an escrow agreement. That's typically how something like that would be set up. That information is not really provided here, so we don't know those details. But you can see that he did say we would have it in a dedicated client escrow account. Now, these statements of representations, it says, were made September 27, 2017. Okay, so now we have a new set of contracts that are going to be provided to the plaintiffs to sign, Marc and Sharon Hagle. And it says here with this changed payment schedule, okay, here is the amount that's now due. $258,000. And they wired that amount February 6, 2018. At that point in time, the name was changed from Cyclops 2 to Titan. Now, let me get back to the lawsuit here, because I want to get into these dates. These dates kept changing. These dates, it just went on and on and on. And you will start to understand why the Hagles were just like, okay, what in the world? So approximately 2 months after that, now think about this, they've just gotten this $190,000 payment. 2 months after that, Oceangate canceled the expedition. It was scheduled for June 2018. The stated reasons for the cancellation was that Oceangate had not had sufficient time to conduct the full series of tests and dives needed to certify the Titan to the depth necessary to reach the Titanic. Okay, well, we want you to be safe. It was rescheduled to take place about a year later, July 2019, but then that got canceled because there was an issue with the contracted support vessel. It says here, the contracted support vessel refused to participate. Now, that would have been an interesting question to ask. What was going on behind the scenes that they were saying, nope, we're out? Okay, so now the new date is supposed to be 2020. So now we've moved, and you can see here by the writing here, it's almost like they're really upset at this point. It says, as a result, the expedition originally scheduled to occur in 2018 would likely not take place until at least 2 full years later. And at least approximately 2.5 years after they had each paid the full $129,000 per person. Look at this. Let me scroll down. So at this point, they have put in a total of $210,000 plus. That's a lot of money to be put off for over 2 years. That is a lot of money. Then at this point, oops, it says in response, Rush had Oceangate's expedition manager inform plaintiff's travel coordinator that Oceangate was working on a full refund plan for those who want it, which we'll know more about in weeks to come. They said the reason for the cancellation was equipment failure, and now this expedition was scheduled for July 2020. And then guess what? You see here, that got canceled too. That got canceled too. So it says here, plaintiffs did not contribute to the cancellations of 2018, 2019, or 2020 expeditions, meaning it was not the plaintiff's fault. It was not Marc and Sharon Hagle's fault. They have nothing to do with the cancellation. Okay? It's not like they called up and said, hey, we can't make it. It wasn't their fault. They're saying it was entirely on the defendant. This is what this lawsuit is alleging. It says plaintiff's travel coordinator continued to follow up regarding plaintiff's request for refund. That's a lot of money. We want it back. We want it back. You have canceled 2018, 2019, 2020. We have, I don't want to put words in their mouths, but it sounds like they had some concerns here. Concerns. Here is where Oceangate responds to their requests, demanding that they participate in a July 2021 expedition. Now, how would you feel if it's already been canceled 3 times and now you're telling me, oh, no, if you don't participate in this 4th one, then, you're the issue. It says, Oceangate responded to the request by demanding that plaintiffs participate in the July 2021 expedition and stating that if plaintiffs failed to participate in the 2021 expedition, they would not be entitled to a refund or credit. I told you, what did I say? What did this say back early on in some of those pages? It said, oh, you don't have to give an excuse or a reason. We will give you all of the money that you have paid. And yet 2018, 2019, 2020, and now they're saying, can we get our money back? Will you please send us our money back? And it's not happening. This is a total turnaround then from what they initially stated. Probably not what they expected also. So they are alleging fraudulent inducement. It says these are the several false statements that they made. They made statements regarding the status of the development and testing of Cyclops 2, that Cyclops 2 would be ready to dive on June 2018. If plaintiffs had any questions or concerns, they would receive a full refund of all monies paid with no questions asked, and any future payments by plaintiffs would be held in a dedicated client escrow account separate from Oceangate's funds. And it says here, when the foregoing representations were false when made and were made with a specific intention not to perform the promises at that time. It says Rush had full and complete knowledge. He knew or should have known that about the falsity of these representations when they were made. So that's really it. And they were because now they have dismissed this. They were asking for damages, mostly the return of their money, and anything else that the court wanted to give. That sort of brings us up to speed with what is going on with this lawsuit that had been filed back in February. It is June now, wrapping up June, almost near the end of June. And unfortunately, the tragedy occurred and the CEO was lost in that tragedy. So I hope this brings you up to speed in terms of this lawsuit that had been filed, and we'll continue to see the developments around this and whether or not, there's any further investigation. We're sure they're going to be looking into a lot of this to make sure similar things of this nature don't happen. So if this brings you up to speed, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Peace.